Hi guys, welcome back. It's Chala. Today we are going to be rocking it out with some alcohol inks. In particular, I'll be playing around with alcohol pearls for the first time. They were given to me by Scrap and Stamp to play with, and I'm so excited to do this video for the blog that I'm putting up today. So go ahead and check that out. I'll link it down below. Alright, so to get started, there's going to be a few things that we will need, and here's a quick picture of them, but let's go through each item individually of what I'm going to be working with. So here is a huge amount of supplies. It looks overwhelming, but it's not. All you need are some rocks that are washed. You can also bake them as well to make sure there's no bugs on them. And then we are going to be needing some gloves. This is important if you don't want your hands to get stained through this process. I also have some alcohol pearls. And again, like I said, I haven't used these, but I'll link everything down below and over at the blog that I'm going to be using. I also have this alcohol blending solution and a few more other alcohol inks that I have that I purchased before. I didn't have very many. I also have this Brie waterproof paper that says it's supposed to be good for alcohol inks, and it's 8.5 by 11, which is nice because I'll lay it down and hopefully catch any of those ink drippings because I don't want to waste anything, right? So these are all the supplies we're going to need. Like I said, a little bit to get started. I'm just going to put these alcohol inks directly onto the rocks and we'll see really what happens. Okay, so to get started, I have the tinfoil laying down, I've got my gloves on, and then I have that Brie paper. I have this rock here that is more textured. I found it outside, I washed it off, and made sure there was no dirt or anything on it. This one, again, another round type rock, nice and smooth. So we'll see how the inks react differently on these two different types of texture of rocks. So that's what we're going to do. Now what I will do is I'm going to start with this textured rock and we'll see how the inks react on this. So I have, like I said, the alcohol pearls and then just regular alcohol ink. Now when you shake the regular alcohol ink, you can just hear it sloshing around, but with the pearls you can see that the pigment has settled on the bottom. So my gloves are a little too big here, but you can see that the minerals have like settled to the bottom, so you need to shake it. And when you shake it, you will hear like a little, I think it's a metal ball inside rattling around, and that helps to mix those pigments around. So you definitely want to give this a good shake. So you can see here that the pigments are now mixed into the liquid itself. And we just want to keep shaking to make sure that everything's mixed well and they flow through properly. All right. Pull up my gloves and we'll get started. I have the alcohol blending solution. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. Maybe when the inks go down and we'll play around, we'll see what happens. All right, this is the toughest part, is to get started, to pick out which colors we want to use. And so I'm pulling out a few of the regular inks, and I'm going to pull out a few of the alcohol pearls. And I don't know about you guys, but getting started on a project is sometimes the hardest part. But once I get going and I'm in the groove, things work well. I'm going to start with this one, I think. It's a nice color. I believe it's the Pool. And then I'm going to work with some pearls. Now, there's nothing special in this process. This is, you can see that the inks bottles they get stained. Again, that's why I want to use my gloves. But I'm just going to really just drip the inks right onto the rock. Now, again, you want to just tip them over. You don't need to squeeze really because it does come out fast. So just putting this on here, and the first thing I notice is the ink really absorbs well into the rock, which shouldn't surprise me really because the rock is porous, right? And it's a good thing I'm wearing my gloves because I'm already getting messy. And I have this Flamingo. This is one of my favorite alcohol ink colors, is this pink Flamingo color. And I'm going to drip this on. Now, another thing that I noticed with just the regular alcohol inks is that they're really dark on this one, and I don't know if that's because this particular rock is textured and it's just absorbing more and it looks darker, or if it's just, you know, really the alcohol inks themselves, the plain inks are just, you know, more pigmented and deeper, darker colors. I also chose darker colors too, so yeah, so just dripping this around and kind of covering the entire base of the rock. Like I said, not a lot is dripping off at this point. It's not really moving around like it typically would on Yupo. So I'm going to see what happens now when I add a little bit of this blending solution, just to see if if it does, you know, do anything at all, or if it's something I want to play around with. So I'll just drip it on. And yeah, nothing's really, doesn't really move it around, so I don't think I'm going to use this at all. I don't think it's really going to do anything, so I'm not going to waste any of that solution. All right, so continuing just to now look at the alcohol pearls, and let's see how these react. Again, I have never used these before, and I want to shake it really, really well. I love the names of these alcohol pearl colors. This one is called, I don't know if you can see it there, but it's called Villainous. Oh my goodness, that is like the best name ever for a color like this. This color reminds me of like Ursula or Maleficent from Disney. And I drop it on there, and wow, like you can't see it here. Like it is moving around. It looks alive. There is so much shimmer. I'm going to zoom in here so that you can get a better look at this, but I'll drip some more on. Like it's just moving around. Like I can't believe it. It honestly looks alive. It is so cool. Hold it a little closer, see if you can actually see it sparkling and moving. I'll drip some more on. That way you can get a look, but can you see that shimmer? Like in real life, this is just an insane process. Like the sparkle on it is just wow. Like let's add more. Let's add a lot more of this. This is so much fun. I'm kind of bummed that I added so many dark colors onto this one in particular, but that's okay. I have more rocks, and I can definitely play around, and we'll take a look at how that works later with just more lighter colors. But let's shake up another alcohol pearl here, and I think what I'll do is I'm going to speed up this process because it does take a bit, but I do want you to see how this all came together. I don't really want to cut too much out for you, so again, just dripping some more of those alcohol pearls. This is the green color. Again, I will link everything over at the Scrap and Stamp blog, which you can get to by linking down below. All right, so this one is hard to see again because it's so dark, but it's amazing. Like just the way that those inks move on the rock. This is the yellow, and you can kind of see it a little bit better, but it's so mesmerizing. It's just like it moves so incredibly differently than the regular inks themselves. So yeah, like the sparkle is just beautiful. I really wish you guys could like be in my craft area with me to see this. It's quite beautiful. I really like this orange color that they have. I'm going to shake that one up, and we'll try and see what happens with that. So this is kind of my test rock, and when we get to the other rock that I do, the smoother one, you'll definitely see a huge difference in how these inks react and move. So just dripping it around, no real rhyme or reason, just kind of dripping it. And you can see that that one kind of came off and landed on that Brie Reese paper. And let me be really clear with this Brie Reese paper. Sorry, words are hard. It is a lot thinner than Yupo paper. It is not as like plastic like, and so when it hits the paper, it doesn't move like it would on Yupo paper. This paper is more, like you can see it there, it's more, I'd say, like what you would want to use with watercolor for sure. Like it totes itself as a watercolor paper, but that you can also use it with alcohol inks. And I think it would be great for watercolor. You can see that it's got those that watercolor feature to it with the inks, but in terms of actually having the inks move around and blend together on the paper, I was very underwhelmed by it. It's not something that I would use for alcohol inks at all. I actually got better results from just like photo paper that I've used, like just cheap photo paper. The inks moved around a lot better. Again, not as great results as you would with the Yupo, but a lot better than this paper. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying this paper is bad. I think it would be really great for watercolors, but not for alcohol inks in terms of how we usually work with ink. So I'm going to drop some of the alcohol pearls colors up top here so you can see them spreading and just kind of get a different look of how these colors look. It really, like they have like a cell look to them. So I do acrylic paint pours, and when you're doing acrylic paint pours, you kind of want those cells. You add a little bit of silicone and they give you kind of those rougher edges and kind of cell looks. And this definitely had that look to it. That's what it reminded me of. But they didn't really, the inks didn't blend together like they would on Yupo. So after that long rambling, the paper would be great for watercolor, not so much for alcohol inks. So I have this first rock mostly done. I'm just kind of looking at it and making sure I hit any blank areas of the rock, adding just some different colors. Again, this is kind of my test rock. I've never done this before, so I'm just like really playing around, and if it turns out a hot mess, it turns out a hot mess. That's fine. I have more rocks to play with. So again, I highly recommend gloves, because at this point I was like, my hands were covered. It was like a Easter egg nightmare with rocks. So if you are doing this with kids, be very careful. Make sure you are in a well-ventilated area and that your work surface is very well protected, and your clothing is not something that you mind getting stained, because the kids will get this everywhere for sure. You know how they are. You tell them, oh, you just have to like tip the bottle over. You don't have to squeeze it, but they're going to squeeze it and it's going to go flying everywhere. So just keep that in mind. But definitely a fun project that I would do with my kids for sure. Like, look at this, like the shine and the colors together. Like, that's not bad for just like a rough play, right? So let's bring out this other rock. This one is the smoother one. Again, making sure that you wash them. We have a new little friend in our house. His name is Bob. We think it's a he. It's a baby bearded dragon, and I thought this would be cool as well to add to his terrarium, as well as my daughter's fairy garden outside. So a couple things you want to keep in mind: that if you are having these rocks indoors, you don't necessarily need to seal them, but you should bake them. And the reason why you want to bake them in the oven, again, I'll tell you over at the blog how to do that and how long. And that's just to make sure that you kill any bugs or any bacteria that might be on the rocks, because if you are keeping them inside or in a terrarium, you don't want any of those parasites or bugs, obviously, in your house. If you are having these rocks outside, in a fairy garden or a garden, you may want to put some sort of sealant on it. I'm not sure what I would use yet, just because I haven't sealed mine, but I'm sure there's products out there. Maybe you guys can actually comment down below and let me know what you would use to seal these rocks if you've ever done this project before. Look at this. Like, this is just insane. Those alcohol pearls blended together on that smoother rock, like it almost is like a lava lamp to me. Like, I'm just adding more colors, like you can see on this textured rock. It's already starting to dry and they didn't move as much, but this one, like, the shine is insane, and it literally was like a lava lamp. Every time I kept adding more colors, it was just absolutely mesmerizing. Again, I don't really have a lot dripping off. It seems to be going on to the back of the rock, so I'm going to continue to add more colors. Adding this orange is a little risky. I can get muddy. Now I'm adding just the regular inks because I haven't yet. I just was playing around with the alcohol pearls, and I mean, it's okay, but I'm really, really into these alcohol pearls. I need all the pearls. I need all the colors now, and oh my goodness, Scrap and Stamp actually has a bundle that's a really great price. Again, I'm going to link that over at the blog. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's going to end up in my cart for sure, because, like, wow, like, look at this. So much fun. And as I'm sitting here playing around doing this project, so happy. Like, look here, you can see that it's not really blending together. I've got kind of a bit muddy mess, but that's okay. As I'm playing around here, I'm like, what else can I alcohol ink with these pearls? Like, I'm now looking around my craft room and I'm like, I need to alcohol pearl all the things. So I'm thinking about that as I'm adding more colors. I now can't stop, and I'm like, I should probably stop because I don't want this to get too messy. So yeah, so I'm going to set these aside. Chala, just set them aside, let them do their thing, let them dry. And you can see here that there isn't a lot of movement. Like, it's okay. It gives you that watercolor look like I had mentioned before. Now, look what I found. Oh, look at this. It's a little dollar store lantern. It works on a little battery, solar powered. Let's alcohol ink this, because why not, right? This is going to be a lot of fun. Make it like a stained glass look. I'm going to do it on the inside, and let's just give it a go. Let's see what happens. So I start dripping these on. Again, I'm really in love with that Villainous color. Like, it's my favorite. Purple's always been my favorite color, but this one in particular, with the name of it and the sparkle and all the things, loving it. So yeah, so I just keep, sorry, tangent there. I really love these colors. So just dripping these alcohol pearls on, playing around, and I will admit that I didn't stop when I should have with this one. I don't actually show you because it turns into a muddy mess, and I end up using my alcohol blending solution to wipe it off and start again, just because I added too many colors that didn't look good together, and they ended up, I had too much ink on there really, and yeah, it got muddy, and I cleaned it off and started over with a panel, and I'll show you that at the end, what that looks like. So yeah, I'll end up just make sure that you're setting everything aside to dry. Try not to add too much inks to something like this because it will take a long time to dry. Look what else I found in my craft room. I have the tin foil, but this is the mirrored cardstock. Let's use these rocks just to hold it down because my paper was bowed a little bit and I didn't want it running too much. And I start dripping this on the mirrored cardstock, and hokey diners, like, this is insane. It's like little fireworks going off on here. It is so incredibly pretty, and I love the way that the ink is moving around on this mirrored cardstock. I think this would look really cool as a background for like one of those kind of intricate background dies, say cut many times with white cardstock. Let's zoom in, like, look at these little fireworks. Love it, love it, love it. I have to try some regular inks. Not as impressed, but you know, it's not bad. Again, the pearls have got me. I want to do all the things with the pearls. So like I said before I got distracted, is this would look really cool with multi-layers of background dies, and so this would be the background, and then you would have like mini layers on top, and I'll link to some background dies that I think would look really cool with this over at the blog. Again, you can get to that by clicking down below, and I think that would look really cool as a background, almost like a stained glass type of look. So yeah, like, I didn't end up making cards with these. Unfortunately, I ran out of time because I was playing with them so much and looking around for what I could add it to. Like, look at this, it's just beautiful. I do try it on the tin foil. I didn't record that for some reason. I'm sorry, but I'll show you the after look of that. Again, that would be a really cool item that you could add to a card, I think, as well. So just adding that orange, and really just, like, I could just watch this forever. It is so pretty, just the way that they move around, and when it dries, it still looks beautiful. So I took these pictures outside, the sun sparkling off of that alcohol ink pearls. I thought this was really fun. You could also add maybe some paint, like dots or flowers on top, if that's like a white paint over top. And the texture of this rock is just really quite beautiful. I think that looks amazing. And here's that smoother rock, like the shine, and it looks very watercolory. This is the foil paper or foil cardstock. Look at that, like, again, little fireworks. This is the tin foil, again, really pretty. I did more regular inks with this one as well. There's so much you can do. Here's that lantern. Again, I hope that this has really inspired you to take a look at using your craft products in different ways, not just for cards. You can definitely use this in home decor and other areas. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll link to another video that you might enjoy. I head over to Scrap and Stamp blog as well to check out the supplies I used, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.